That's way cool.
Yeah, man. But it's freaking great to have you guys. We're just going to jump into it and start going. But just left to right here, we've got Mr. Matt.
How's it going?
What's your last name, dude?
Matt Wilson.
Wilson.
Just Ophi, yeah.
Ophi.
Like Beyonce, just Ophi.
Just Ophi.
Just Ophi.
And then Mr. Johnny.
Johnny Diaz, D-I-A-Z.
Diaz.
Call me Johnny D.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Johnny D.
No one calls him that.
I have a lot
They
of
call him
names.
Just your girl.
Johnny, call if you want.
They call you, what is it? Dark Chiken. Dirk Chiken is what it
I have
is.
a lot of names.
I like Dirk Chiken. Let's call him that.
Dirk Chiken?
From here on out.
Okay, so the story of Dirk Chiken, real quick.
Okay.
His Instagram is Dark Chicken.
Chicken.
Okay.
But the way he wrote it, and when like we were first like getting to know each other, I read it as Dirk Chiken and just assumed that was a Filipino name. And so I was like, yeah, I've seen him, Dirk Chiken. And he was like, what?
So why Dirt Chicken, though? Or Dark Chicken? Where did that come from?
I'm just scared of a lot of things.
Okay.
So chicken, right? And
Yeah.
I'm pretty dark, so dark
Okay.
chicken. There you go.
Yeah, we need to come up with a better story than that, man. I thought it was just say I'm scared of the dark and I'm scared of chickens. You know?
That's gonna be like
like
a
you were attacked
Batman.
by a chicken or something.
Yeah,
in
like
the dark.
Batman, he falls into a cave full of chickens.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrifying, dude.
Instead of the Dark Knight.
And you're not even that dark. I'm like way darker than you.
Yeah, but
You gotta change it to medium dark chicken now.
Cool. So, I mean, we're here to talk about Ophi and what he's got going on, what he's got coming up. But also, I just wanted to like get a brief introduction for you three. Just tell me about what you play, what you're bringing to the table, and about your backstory. If you want to start, Matt.
Yeah, for sure. I started playing with Ophi just about like 2 months ago, actually, because his drummer couldn't make a gig, and he called me when I was in like Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, dude, are you free this coming Saturday morning? And I just so happened to be. So we just kind of hit it off and took it from there. Basically, but I've been playing drums like most of my life. My dad was a drummer too, so he got me started with it when I was like super young, like my feet could touch the pedals.
Nice.
And yeah, man, it's just kind of like always been a fixture in my life. So I've been really fortunate to kind of always have music as really just like a means to get everything for me. I've paid my way through college, a total music nerd, went to music school, jazz school, so kind of did that thing, but now I'm just, loving just being in the rock band.
How did you find Ophi? How did you guys
Over
get
Instagram,
connected?
actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we kind of like talked back and forth a little bit on Instagram.
So I found him and I was like, dude, this guy's awesome. And, you know, as you're starting to think of touring and thinking all this stuff, like I literally thought, what happens if somebody gets sick? You know, what happens if my drummer can't make it or my guitarist can't make it? Like you need to have people that can help you out. And so I was like, dang, I need a good like guy to go to just in case. And then that literally happened. Oh, I saw him. I commented. We followed each other.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, it was one of you in your rehearsal studio, and you were just, he killed it, man. And I was like, oh, and he was good looking. So I was like, dude, this guy's got the whole thing, right? And so then, the drummer that I had at the time, awesome, super cool dude, super cool drummer, couldn't make it. I think he had either a work thing or COVID thing. Something happened, and I was like, oh, we got invited to play a Christmas thing, which I never did that ever. But we were like, we'll play if we can be Ophi still, if we can rock it. I don't want to do like acoustic
Silent
piano
night.
Yeah, I was
no
like,
scale.
as long as I can still be myself and bring it. And they said, yeah, we'd love that. That'd be awesome. So then I hit him up, and then we had rehearsal. I think it was just you and I, right? Because the bass player couldn't make it. And so, yeah, I like fell in love, had a man crush, and then we played that show. And then I was like, dude, I kind of want to see what this guy sounds like with Ophi songs, you know?
Yeah.
And then the show at Soundwell, this last one, was the very, very first show we've ever had. And it was funny because a few people were like, you could tell you guys had played together for like a year or two.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like
Sure.
6 actually, 6 years. Yeah. But yeah, like, and that's another thing that's very important for bands is the chemistry. I mean, think about how many super groups there'd be out there if that worked. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, we'll just take this singer, this drummer, this, and we'll make a... Dude, like, that is important that you have that talent, but the chemistry of the right people, you know?
Yeah, I'd argue that's more important.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Well, I feel like super groups do get together, but then they break up after one song because they don't click, you know? So it is important.
Yeah.
For sure. Cool. Well, Johnny, tell us about you a little bit.
Mr.
About
Dirk
me?
Chicken.
Mr. Dark Chicken.
I grew up in the Philippines, and my dad and my uncle, they're pretty musical. They love music, but they're flawed people. You know, they're drunk. So all day they would just blast their music all day. And that was kind of forced into me. And then until I started to like loud music like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, all those bands. Cassette tapes. We had like
all
stacks
the classics.
and stacks of cassette
Nice.
tapes, and so yeah, I just started playing the guitar at 12, and I still play guitar. I'm kind of nervous. I'm sorry.
That's all right, dude. That's okay. I'm excited to hear you live, man. So
Let me tell you something about Johnny, okay?
let's hear it. All right.
So one of the things, and I always share this, dude, one of my favorite things about Johnny is because when you're, you ask somebody like somebody famous, Jay-Z, Kanye West, you say, what'd you want to be when you grew up? Guarantee it was an entertainer or a musician or an artist, right? And those people, some people are like, oh, I want to be a police or a firefighter or a policeman, I want to be a dancer, whatever. And then life happens, they change, they go to different careers, right?
Sure.
But like all of us, like this is all we've ever wanted to do all of our life, like since I was a kid, right? And so I was talking to Johnny about, when we have these one-on-one moments, and he said that in the Philippines, he used to carry his amp and his guitar a mile. Was it a mile? One?
It was probably more than that.
Yeah, 2 band practice. Like, they didn't have a car. Like, he had to carry it. And I was thinking, how many musicians would walk carrying an amp and a guitar to get to rehearsal?
That's dedicated, man.
It's dedication, right?
I didn't have a guitar gig bag. I would put my guitar in a backpack and wear it like a backpack in the neck with...
And carry your amp, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that.
No wonder you're so good, dude.
Now we've got him playing in like a garage with a roof and like air conditioning and
so
running water.
Kind of like amazing to me to look at because I grew up in the Peens, third world country.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. They all cost money, and I grew up, in a pretty poor household. Cheap. Everything's cheap. When we learned to get by, and even that's kind of like, wow. I've never seen those things before.
Well, we're glad to have you here, man. For sure. How long have you been in America now?
8 years.
Okay.
9 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just let the water, I'll turn on the faucet and he'll be there for hours just staring at. That sounds so racist. I mean, it's not. It's an inside joke. He knows I love him. I grew up poor too. It's all right.
Gotcha.
No, but it like dedication like that, and if you look at some skilled and talented musicians, they all have that version of their version of walking a mile with a backpack with their guitar. Everybody has that. And that's what I think is freaking awesome.
So tell us about yours, man. What's your story?
Okay, so one of the coolest things, I was in a finance company that was just awesome, took off. They offered me a crazy, insane amount of money for it. To just continue doing it in Hawaii because I'm part Polynesian and I'm brown. Really, that was like what they wanted. And it was a lot of fun. And, I kind of was teetering on playing music or running this finance world because I loved it. I loved meeting the clients, and I was handling, retirement plans for teachers and doctors, and it was just awesome. It was fun, meeting the clients. You fall in love with them, but at the end, I was making more money than I ever had in my life. And like I said, they offered that same position in Hawaii for 7 figures, but it was, hey, that you're going to do this for the next 10 to 15 years, no more music.
Sure.
50, 60 hour work weeks,
Yeah, that's right.
But it's because they're, I'm going to be running this whole thing. And like, I had an experience where I almost died up in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I was hiking up there, and long story short, I ran into like a bear den. There was bear fur, bear poop, and like there was 3 grizzly bears in the area, and so I was trying to like hide from them so they wouldn't find me, whatever.
I didn't think the story was going there. Okay.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts, dude.
Bear den.
Yeah, dude. And so anyway, that's a story for a different time. But when that was happening, when I was like, I'm about to die, I hate hiking. Like my kind of brown, we don't hike, dude. It's just not. We've talked about that before. It's like people go out and hike, in the wilderness and stay out there for. This guy does it like all the time. And to me, I'm like,
with you.
Yeah, see, I'm like, dude, why wouldn't you just go to a hotel? Like, why do you want to sleep on the floor? But it's just because I didn't grow up with stuff like that.
Yeah.
I grew up poor as well, and it's just like, I mean, not super poor, but my parents got divorced when I was 10, and that's when like poverty hit because it was a single mom trying to raise 2 kids, and anyway. But when I was out there on this mountain thinking I was going to die, my group had left me because I got in a fight with the girl I was with at the time, and she ended up taking off. And so I was up there on the mountain by myself and literally thought I was going to die. And I was just thinking, man, if I died right now and like had an interview with God or whatever being you believe in up there, and that being was like, hey, how was Earth? I'd be like, it sucked, man. You took me while I was hiking. I hate hiking, and I was with the girl. It wasn't the right girl, and like I never got to do music, and that was the thought. You know, I was like, I never got to do music, and the whole time I kept thinking, dude, if I died and I didn't even believe in myself, like I'd be kicking myself for the eternities, man. I was like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be up there like, oh, there's freaking, I don't know, Michael Jackson, there's Prince, there's everybody else that followed their dreams, and there's me being a loser, went hiking instead, you know? I didn't want that. I didn't want that to be my story. And so during that time that we were hiking, we were trying to save a marriage at that time, decide if we were going to stay married or get divorced. And then it was also this company was moved to Hawaii. And then
big decisions right there.
Yeah. And then I had this opportunity to work with the producer and label that we have now and come to Utah of all places. And the entire time I thought I was going to die, I kept thinking like, okay, if you can keep me alive, I will follow music. Because I didn't think about the money. I didn't think about any of that stuff. All I cared about is how come I didn't believe in myself? How come I didn't try? You know? Yeah. And a phrase, and I'm going to coin this phrase because it hit me up there, was no one reads bank statements at funerals. No one does. And so it's irrelevant at that point. All that money that you made really to you and your eternal progression or whatever is irrelevant at that point.
Can't take it with you.
You can't.
You know?
But what do you take? Friendships, experiences, your journey, you know, the dreams, the things that you had. And so I was like, dude, that's the most important thing to me. So I kind of hope everybody has a near-death experience. Not because I want you guys to go through anything bad.
Gives you a better perspective on life, what's happening.
It makes you take your whole life and be like, yeah, that's not important. This is important. That's not.
And depending on what you believe in, like, I just think that's what life is about. Like what you were saying, it's not about the bank statement. Maybe not everybody believes in that, but I think it is about the experiences you have. That's really what it comes down to.
Oh, definitely.
So since that moment you turned around, like, what have you been doing, man? What's been going on?
Exactly what I committed to do at that mountain. Not even gonna lie. This ring right here, I don't know if the camera could pick it up, but it's from the Grand Tetons. I literally got out one ring.
The one ring.
Literally got off that mountain, survived, which was a miraculous story in and of itself. But got off the mountain, went to one of the shops in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and was like, I need a ring. And every time I freak out and think like I'm not going to make it, I literally just look at him like, nah, dude. This is the most important thing, man. That deal. So since then, I ended up moving, got the divorce, ended up moving to Utah, and then have been doing music full time as a solo artist. I was just doing mostly acoustic.
Yeah.
Got to play Sundance, which was fantastic. I got to do a bunch of fun solo projects, and then there was a chance to play with a really, really big band that was going to come to Utah for like a small thing, but they were like, dude, you need a full band in order to open for them. And I was like, oh shoot, you know?
Yeah.
And then so last year, that's when I kind of started building
out. Okay.
And I've gone through a lot of musicians here in Utah, and I don't regret any of them. Everybody had their time and their place, you know? So, what is it? Some stay for a season, some stay for a reason, right? You never heard that before, huh?
I haven't actually.
It's pretty good, huh?
Coined the term, dude.
I know. I'm just going to be shooting out quotes left and right. But yeah, like I've met some really awesome musicians, and then this one feels right. This one feels... I'm like, all right, because the chemistry is there, the show's there, I hang out with these guys outside of music.
That's big,
and there's a lot of bands that don't do that. And I don't know what's right, I don't know if it's like we just keep it work and that makes them successful. But with me, I'm like, dude, I go to war with these guys. Like, I need to know what they like, I like having these one-on-one talks about what's your dreams, what do you see in the future? How many kids do you want? It's a lot like dating. Like, it really is. And I right?
A band is like a 5-way relationship.
Dude, it is, man.
Keep together.
Yeah. Because you got to make sure they're happy. You got to give them enough attention each, like...
Never thought about like giving the bandmates attention. It's like, that's fun. Yeah.
Dude, one-on-one dates. Like, I've had times like him and I will go play racquetball together. I try to get this guy to lift with me, but that's his alone time, all right? No one messes with it. That's his
Put the headphones
time.
In and go, right?
Yeah, he just doesn't.
I can understand that.
Yeah. But I mean, like Super Bowl. We had a Super Bowl party, and that was a blast. And we all got to hang out, eat food, and just like hang out outside of music. And I'm hoping it shows in our music and on our stage presence is that like these guys love each other. They're tight.
Yeah.
They have. It's weird because again, even though I've been with you for 2 months and Johnny, have we been a year yet? Have we been
not yet. Probably 6 or 7
months. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feels like more.
It does, in a good way.
I don't remember.
It was like, I couldn't imagine a time not playing with these guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, tell me about your last show at Soundwell, because I heard
wants-
good things about it,
who
man.
wants to take that? All right, I'll do it.
That's
Oh, I hate talking on the microphone. Okay, so it was our first time appearing in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
A year ago, I had played at, oh shoot, and I just forgot it. What's the place? The Complex. Played the Complex. Then that was opening for an artist named Fiji.
With the full band?
No, well,
Okay,
it was
or
me, but I
acoustic.
had hired a drummer from California,
Gotcha.
and then I found a bass player here.
Okay.
So, but it was a 3-piece,
Yeah.
and that was when I learned I'm not good at 3-pieces. Like having all that guitar stress on me, I was like, that's
Yeah,
not me.
yeah.
I needed that moment. I was like, I need a Johnny. Was that show? But it was still awesome. You know, it was an awesome show, dude. So that was the last time I had played Salt Lake City, and then Soundwell, our manager said, hey, you should play this venue, and yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful venue. The owners, everybody there is super cool, super nice. And we sold out, which was awesome.
Which is like, what, 250 or something?
I wish it was 250. Good gracious, make it sound it's 400 now. Because of COVID, because how many can they fit there? I think it's 700 or 800.
Yeah, that's about a 7.
Like max, which is nuts because I thought it was like 300, and they're like,
Yeah.
no, we can get 900.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's a
Oh,
pretty
what?
decent
Dang.
sized venue.
yeah, it's huge.
I need to go there, man. I tried. I tried
know.
to go to your show, got rejected at the door because I,
I
didn't
know.
have my ID.
know.
Saddest thing of my life.
Which is a, let that be a lesson. Like these venues are like legit, you know. It's like, dude,
yeah.
sorry, we can't. They're not gonna risk their license for one person, you know.
Yeah,
So I see their side, but again,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
next
I
time just-
understand why. I was more just mad at myself,
Yeah.
not at them. Yeah.
Could have texted me and I would have come out and be like, I vouch for this man.
I wish I would have
you know?
known. I would have done that, dude.
No, I'm
Dang
sorry.
it.
But yeah, no. So with COVID, it was 140 tickets, I believe.
Okay.
Was what we could have, and then plus staff, plus our crew. So we ended up having like 180 people out there. Plus we had a 15 VIP thing. But just that, you know, during COVID was awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger things I've heard about during COVID. So,
Yeah. Well, just the fact that people I mean, somebody texted me right before and they said, dude, I haven't been to a concert in 13 months. I hope
Yeah.
this is worth it.
Oh, yeah.
LOL. You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was thinking like, this is and the show that we have with you guys coming up, this might be some people's first time getting out since
yeah.
COVID.
Oh, it definitely is.
And they're gonna remember, like,
Yeah.
this is gonna be a staple in their memory. It's like, dude, remember we went to the Boardwalk Sound and like there was that band Ophi played and they killed it and yeah, whatever. It's unique that we have that opportunity to help people some sense of normalcy in their life.
I hope it sparks more people to want to keep coming back to shows and realize that they are going right now at certain places and you can actually do it. So I hope
And
you
safely,
guys
comfortably,
open people up to that a little bit.
Yeah.
But what's the date for that? And if you want to tell us a little bit about that show coming up, Ophi.
Yes.
going
Okay.
on?
I got this, guys.
It's all you, bro.
I know. Like, don't say anything. I got it. What's so funny is like that's just us 24/7. Anytime there's any type of interview thing, it's like, you want to take it? Because I love the microphone.
And then you look at them and then you just go, all right, I'll take it.
I got it. Yeah. Yeah. Wait till we win our first Grammy. Like they'll start to get up, and I'm like, I got it, guys. And you guys just sit there. I got
You
it.
physically push them.
Yeah, push them down. It's all me, baby. No. So March 19th, it's Friday. We're doing 2 shows. And that's exciting because we're going to play at 6:30 and then we're going to play at 9. And we tested it out here in Orem. That was one of your first shows with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Was that a year ago?
Is that
No, because you hadn't even been
third
with us.
space?
7.
Or-
Yeah, third
yeah.
space studios. Yeah. And we wanted to test it out because at that time we could only have 75 people. And so we're like, oh man, like 75 people. Not that we don't want to play for 75 people, but this is our livelihood. You know, this is what we do.
Yeah.
A lot of musicians here in Utah, like we do this full time, you know, and we have other little supplement jobs or we just do this, right? So 75 people were like, we'd either have to charge $35 a ticket or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then we're like, dude, why don't we just play 2 shows? 2 legit, all out, balls to the walls, Ophi shows. 6:30 and then 9.
Yeah, it's the first time we've ever done this, so I'm pumped for it. I think it's going to be awesome.
It's exciting because some people are like, you're going to play 2 shows, hour and a half? Because we give it. I would just say that. And anybody that's ever been to an Ophi show, they know we leave it all on the stage.
You'll be exhausted by the end. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and then we have a half
Go
an
all
hour
over again.
to like eat some food, take a shower. Dude, are there showers here? Yeah. No, okay.
Dude, I'm sorry.
We'll hose it
man.
down or something.
I got some Clorox wipes I can give you. So.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
No, it's like Matt and I were just on the way down here. We were talking about that. Like, doing one show because you're dripping sweat, your back hurts, you're exhausted, but then you're gonna do it again, and but the audience hypes you back up. You know, it's like we've both have done 3-hour shows before, either like covers or you play in Vegas, and some of these artists play 3-4 hours a night. And they're just doing covers all night, you know, and they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because that's how they make their living.
Got a lot of endurance, you know?
Yeah.
Like, especially the vocal guys, like, man, how do you sing that long?
Carefully.
Like, that's crazy.
I actually have
chords.
a remedy, if you will, of drinks that I use. That's like, so I have my vitamin water, absolutely have to have that. Then I have my normal water. Then I have Gatorade, and then I have Pedialyte, actually. So those
this
together.
podcast has been sponsored by Pedialyte.
Dude, I wish, man. I wish. Yeah, I met a guy. He used to play with Rascal Flatts. His name's Tom Yankton. Love you, Tom, if you see this. And I went to go see him in Vegas, and he was like Pedialyte, man. And I was like, because he was singing for like 4 hours, and his voice held up the entire time. And so I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, well, apart from having in-ears and knowing how to sing, like Pedialyte saves me. And so I was
just
like,
take some right before?
During. I'll take small sips and just... You know, it's not just for kids, you know, it's for singers. I'm telling you, any aspiring singer, that combination, and then obviously teas. I always drink tea just to keep the, you know.
We're going to have some downstairs in the green room for you guys. Nice. What kind of teas do you like?
There's actually a company called Throat Coat. Oh, actually, I don't know if that's the company, but the product is Throat Cut.
Okay, yeah.
Not throat cut, throat coat.
It's like, I don't want to drink a
throat
tea.
Cut, yeah.
It's going to cut my throat.
Throat coat, all right? Throat coat.
One thing you're telling me about, too, is like the PB&Js that you do before shows. I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about it?
Were you part of the PB&J crew? No? Okay. At one of our, like the beginning of us having bands, bands sometimes have something called writers, which we send to the venue and say like, hey, this is our writer, and RIDER, and it basically lets you guys know what we need. It lets you know like on stage what power sources we need, where, whatnot, and then it's usually like, hey, this is something, because hopefully we are helping you guys, and hopefully you benefit from us being there. You know, that's what we want. Yeah. Hopefully you guys benefit in not just money, but people coming to this venue. So with us, it's like, hey, we're gonna do this for you. We'd like waters and Gatorades, and then one of the things was PB&Js, and that. Because I don't know if other people are like that. There's certain foods I just cannot eat before I perform. And it's not even like a nerves thing. It's because we're moving so much that like I'll be singing and it'll just, you know, I'm like, oh, no, not now. This is my solo.
So PB&J is like a good standard food. It stays down.
It just stays down and it's just a good... So you don't even have to make them, but if you had wheat bread, because nobody wants white bread. Do you guys like white bread?
I'll do it.
Yeah, I know you would. Wheat bread.
These days, though, you should just go wheat. Honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And then just some Adam's peanut butter. We are dropping sponsor after sponsor in this show.
Yeah. Can I do Jif? Is that acceptable? Or
I'll probably bring my own peanut butter just in case. Jif's just so much sugar, man. It's just like a ton. And then try to get like.
Now I feel bad, dude. I eat Jif all the time. Shit.
Yeah, but you're buff, dude, and you're not my age. Like I gotta be careful what I eat, you know. So
gotcha.
But yeah, no, it's just like. It's just a good staple. So I'm sorry you guys haven't had that peanut butter and jelly treatment. But you will. You will
on March 19th.
19th, man.
I know.
And aren't you going to play the Complex like after that? I don't know if we want to talk about that or...
Yeah, so that's in the works.
Okay.
And I don't want to say any band names just in case we get sued if we're not allowed to. Okay. But both bands that we're playing with are two bands that we look up to a ton, that have been on the radio, signed, and has done tours and that whole thing. And that's really exciting for us. You know, it's really exciting. And even for that one, as an opener, I'm like, that's awesome. Because it's kind of funny. Utah was the first place that I came to. And I'm not bad-mouthing Utah at all, so don't like at me right now. But when people are so concerned about headlining versus opening, you know, and I'm like, dude, unless you're headlining the Vivint Arena or it's like you're in front of 1,000 people, like if you're playing in front of 50 or 25 people, just enjoy the show.
Oh,
doesn't matter the order, dude, you know?
Yeah, as a venue owner, I see like a bit of everything from all the bands, and you do see that sometimes where bands get finicky, and I agree with you, man. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't, because it's like, dude, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter what spot you're in. You know, I watched Imagine Dragons open for the Killers, and I was like, this band's gonna be huge someday, you know?
Right.
And then boom, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, for me, it's, you have the audience, and that's the whole point. Like, one thing I wish, and it's hard to say this, that there's less competition amongst musicians and artists, but like, I spent some time in Nashville, and country artists stick together. They will light you up and help you in any way. And I'm like, I wish that was more for the pop and rock community. Hip hop does the same thing. Hip hop, once you get in the clique, you're there.
Absolutely.
And so I'm like, for bands, like, there should be, I mean, that's what I talked to you about in future shows. It'd be like, show us you're in a band, take 50% off your ticket and come watch us, you know, or something like that, so that there's more of a community. Because it's like, dude, some of my fans might love your music. Some of your fans might like us. And so that's kind of the hard part, is there's this whole like, you know, like, we got to do our own thing. Like, dude,
we're all artists, man. We're all on the same team.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's not like a sport or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. We're not trying to be like, all right, if I don't become Imagine Dragons, he is, so I don't want him to succeed, you know, like.
yeah.
And there's
we should all succeed together.
There's not a thing where if your fans are my fans, they're not going to be your fans anymore. That doesn't happen in music.
Yeah.
It's like
usually the opposite.
Yeah, it's usually the opposite. You know, I'd never heard a Story of the Year ever in my life, and if you guys haven't, Story
good.
of the Year, do it. But it was Linkin Park.
Yeah. Oh,
So I went to go see Linkin Park, and it was Story of the Year, Hoobastank, if you guys remember that band, and then POD. Remember POD?
I remember POD.
And Linkin Park. So that show, like, I had never ever heard a Story of the Year. That, besides Linkin Park, was the highlight. Hoobastank did awesome too, and POD was really, really good. But Story of the Year, dude, they were doing flips off their amps.
Heck yeah.
Flips off their amps.
Oh, wow.
Backflips.
You gonna do that or what?
Yeah. Dude, I would die. Oh, one last Johnny story. So back at our last, the Third Space show, we have these sections in our music, because you always want to introduce the band, right? And I think the more unique ways you can do that, the cooler it is, instead of just being like dead sound. Hey, this is our guitarist solo. Cool. Here's a, you know, if you can put it into a song or like as a post chorus or whatnot. And so one of these shows, I'd never seen Johnny do this before, and so we're like, make some noise for Johnny. And I kind of turn around. He has his guitar behind his head, and he's just freaking. You know, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Yeah, like I wish there was footage of my face just being shocked that he was doing that.
It's better that he didn't tell you.
Yeah, he did. I didn't know he was gonna do that.
Dude.
But then
or
he
when
did
guitars like go on the ground, you know, and they're like going on the ground. It's so cool, man.
That's just dirty. Like, I'm OCD. I'd be like, oh.
But that's like grunge, dude, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
There was a time I played barefoot when I first started in music. Now looking back, I'm like, that's disgusting. People spit on the stage. People like, ugh. The thought of that makes me cringe.
their sweat is just dripping on the stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a total like germaphobe now.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do that on our stage, man.
No.
It's been through some rough shows.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'm super excited for it though, honestly. Like, it's going to be a huge night. We're going to have food trucks there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this will be the first show we've had here with food trucks.
That's gonna be fun.
So that's gonna be
Sick.
awesome.
Are you gonna open the back garage?
I think so. Yeah. If it's not freezing, I think we can
It's
do
supposed
it.
to be like warm all this week.
Yeah. Because I think it's gonna be
thank
it's gonna get hot in there, you know, with so many people. So
Yeah.
I think we can open it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like things are, you know, starting to open back up a little bit more. And obviously, as a performer, this is what we want. You know, we still want people to be safe. And you know, here's my take on masks, real quick, because you just asked for it. I'm just kidding. But here's my take on it. Right, like I'm not a huge fan of masks. I just, you know, it's just me. I know I hate having stuff right here because I'm so OCD. It like bugs me. It literally is like so hard to have something there in my face. But you know, for your venue, for other places, that's what they ask for to stay in good graces for the state. You know, so you guys don't get shut down. And we don't want us or our fans to be the reason you guys can't do shows anymore. So this is what I look at it. You go to certain people's houses. Keep your shoes on. We don't care. Keep your shoes on. Walk around. But like in my house growing up with my mom, she would have beat you. Like
Same,
I don't care who your parent was, she would have spanked you because it's her house, you take your shoes off. Yeah. So it's like, all right, even though for me I'd like to keep my shoes on, it's your house, I'm gonna respect it. So that's kind of how I see it with the mask thing, right? It'd be way more fun to not have the masks and be able to hang out and stuff. But it's like, dude, I'm trying to help you, other businesses, so I wear the mask. You know, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah.
But
and like you said, it's even bigger than that because it's not just like my personal preference of I want masks. It's if we don't do this, we're gonna get shut down more than likely. So.
And there is the chance that it could spread, right? And your belief, whether your belief of the mask is there or not, this is what you guys have asked because the state, you know, kind of dictates
you
that.
just have to go along with it.
Which is so rock and roll that we're like, we're going to do a show still and wear masks, you know? That's super rock and roll that we get to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And I am very excited. At Soundwell, we had seating. I don't know why I said it like that, but we had seating. And some people, you know, stood up eventually, but it was kind of like, are we allowed to, you know? So with this, I'm very excited that it's just going to be hang out in your groups, but feel free to go
freaking
nuts.
stand up. Get as close to the stage as you want.
Because
feel Ophi's hair, you know? Like,
yeah. Good luck.
Dude,
I'd let people smell
that,
it before touching it.
Stage dive.
That terrifies me.
Oh.
Once I'm skinnier, I'll do
cool.
that.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just like, you saw, there's artists that do that and they don't catch them, you know? And at my,
they've got to be smaller. Like,
yeah.
They got to be really skinny to do that.
Yeah,
I feel
me.
like.
Thanks for calling me fat on national television.
No, I was just thinking
Call me fat.
we had a guy do that, but he was only 15. And
Oh,
so he was super easy to just.
They just like carry him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see that. I'm like, yeah, you can do that.
No, me. The poor people.
Like a School of Rock. The intro to that movie.
Yeah.
Jack Black
yeah.
just
Like-
goes for it, everyone runs away, just hits the deck.
Dude, if you haven't watched, I will say, I think the two greatest, or three, I will say, greatest movies, dang it, 4, to watch as a band.
All right, 5,
Would be,
okay.
yeah, 5. 4 would be School of Rock. Then there's a movie, if you can get the clean version of it, called The Rock Star with Mark Wahlberg and Jennifer Aniston. That was the one we talked about, right? Dude, that movie is heavy. And then Bohemian Rhapsody.
Solid.
Like, that movie would make you cry. And then 4th, Greatest Showman. I like anybody that's a dreamer. Dude, I avoided that movie like the plague. Because have you seen it? Have you seen it?
hype, yeah,
I was like, no, I'm not gonna watch. I'd rather watch Wolverine. You know, I'm not gonna watch him like that. I'm not gonna watch him. And then, dude, I cried 3 times in that movie.
Dang.
Like, I'm just sitting on the couch and I'm just like, you know, like, hey, do you like it? I'm like, don't talk to me right now.
Everyone's tough till Greatest Showman comes on.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's the music is beautiful. So,
Dude, I feel like that's you, man. You're Hugh Jackman. You're like the performer. Seriously. That's
you,
going to
man.
be you. Yeah.
I actually would love to go into acting someday. I don't know if I told you guys that, but music's just way more fun. You know, it's just there's nothing like. For me, the turning point in like this is what I want to do was the first time I heard a crowd sing my songs. You know, the first time I was in California, I was 22, and this was before I even knew what I wanted to do. But this crowd, I didn't know. We had put this song out, and it went on the local radio station. So we're like, yeah, we're on the radio. It doesn't count. I mean, it kind of counts. But, you know, we were so stoked, and I'm up there, and I'm like, it's a new song. You know, it's called From Under the Dirt. That song, Dirt, that we play, this was the original version of it. Anyway, and so people start cheering because it's like, yeah, it's a new song. And right when we're about to hit the chorus, they're singing. And, like, I remember me stop singing. Like, I just stopped. And I'm, like, listening to them. Blind to the music, deaf, you know, all that. And I was just like, they know the words. You know, and I was just like, single tear rolled down, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, dude, that is so
It's like
cool.
euphoric, I bet.
Yeah.
To feel that.
Because
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys don't know what I was going through when I wrote that. You know, and now when we see people sing A Little Bit Dangerous, I'm just a little bit dangerous. I'm like, dude, that was going through, like, one of the roughest times of my life when I wrote that song. And to see people say, like, I'm dangerous, like, I'm just a little bit dangerous. That's all you need. A little bit of courage, and you can make literally anything happen. So when they're singing that, it's like, I never take that for granted. I don't think I'll ever get old or ever get tired of that.
But you feel like they're feeling it with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Dang. That's probably pretty special, dude. I feel like with my band that I'm in, like, you know, I have like there's 2 or 3 fans that are like singing, but that's it, you know. It's never like that. So.
Well, you know, one thing that does help is 2 things, and I think all bands should do this, so take this for what you will. The days before our shows, sometimes I'll post full song lyrics and have them screenshot it and then take it to the show. Some people don't like that because they don't want to be looking at their phone, but some people want to know what the song is, and so they'll read, you know, maybe we'll just post the chorus, and then also if you can have, like, you have those monitors outside the TV
we
ones,
could do that, yeah.
you could put lyrics up there just like the gang chorus lyrics, because some people like to know what you're singing, you know, and if you have a good enough sound system, they can hear it.
Right. That'd be cool. I'm down to do that, by the way. Let's definitely get that set up.
It's cool. Like barricades, you guys, that would be awesome having
That'd
the
be
crowd.
super sick, yeah.
Yeah. That was my dream, is to have a whole crowd sing barricades to me. Because in the recording, we have like my voice is doubled like 1,000 times. It's break these walls down. And then my main comes through.
Right.
And then they have this, I'm getting excited.
Gang vocals.
Yeah. Gang vocals
Sick.
coming. So bring it on the 19th. Barricades. Listen to that song. It's usually the encore song, but if people call for an encore, you know, we'll play that one.
You better call for an encore. So how many songs do you have on Spotify right now? I've been listening to you, and it's only like
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
I think. Yeah, we actually
Yeah.
took down 3 of them.
Okay. So just your best ones right now?
No.
Oh, no?
Like A Little Bit Dangerous we took down. We're going to redo Gasoline.
Okay.
It's really funny being with the independent label that I'm with right now, because they are completely different to what you'd normally do. You know, everybody's like, oh, just hammer at Instagram, hammer at Spotify, hammer, you know. And Instagram wasn't designed for musicians. It's not a band friendly place. It's meant for models, for I don't know.
Nature photography.
Yeah, photography. Yeah, it was started off with just photography, right?
Memes.
Memes now.
Memes, yeah.
But like, when you look at a band, it's like that's not designed for you. It's not, you have other apps for that, kind of. And so I've never really tried to be like an influencer because I'm not an influencer, I'm a musician. And so I believe like then you get bigger bands, Papa Roach, Metallica, they already have a huge following. So when Instagram came about, all their fans are like, oh, we'll just go to that, boom, But to start off, I just tell bands like, dude, don't stress about the numbers of the followers. If you have 200 or 2,000, that should not diminish your worth in any way. And if it does, then you got to check yourself.
Yeah,
because
we were talking about this too. They might have 20,000 fans, but then they host a show and only 10 come.
Yeah.
Where you might have 200 fans, but they're all loyal fans, your Instagram followers, and they all come. So
and the big industry
bigger,
secret is that's what they care about. Can you put fans in the stands? Can we make money off of you? You get some artists that have 180,000 or 80,000 followers, 100,000 followers can sell 5 tickets. And that doesn't look good because they're like, well, then what'd you do with all these followers, right? And then you could argue they're spread out in the world. Well, then that's not good either, dude. Like,
no.
Like you gotta.
And it's so easy to buy followers.
It is
too. Like, they're nothing.
We
really,
had when Ophi was created, my producer had friends that were like, "Hey, we'll sell you this Instagram. Starts off with 30,000 followers." And we thought about it because we're like, that would be cool on paper. But then at the end of the day, is it honest? Is it part of our intention? Is it organic? It's like, dude, I'd rather start with 0 or 1 because everybody starts with 1.
You basically would start with 0 because none of those are
exactly.
real fans.
Yeah.
So.
And it was it was like something for cats, So all of a sudden people would be like, who's this band? And they argued, you're good enough that you'd keep most of them. And I'm like, but dude, I'd rather grow. Looking back at followers that were there for like the first 100, I'm like, dude, how awesome would it be to do a show just for those first 100 or first 1,000 or first whatever, So I'm really big on organic growth and being real. Like too many bands get worried like, oh, we only have 200, 300, whatever, dude. What's your talent level?
Yeah,
like I would much rather listen to a band that's really, really good and have 20 followers. I don't care. We'll help you get more followers if that's what you care about. But dude, you play good music.
Right, and they deserve it.
They deserve it. Yeah. And if you just stick to what you believe in, the numbers will come. Like it just will.
And there it is. Well, too many bands get dismayed, if they're not having the growth they expect and they quit.
Yeah.
It happens every day. A band does that. So if you can get through those stages and just keep going.
Same thing with, the Spotify playlist. Like, this is we were talking to a good friend of ours who just released a single, and he said, yeah, in like a couple days he hit 300,000 streams. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. It's way more than I have. He goes, yeah. And then we both looked at each other and we both said, yeah, but it's only 300,000 streams. That's the jacked up part about this industry that a lot of new upcoming bands don't realize. 300,000 streams is great and it's cool, but in the big, like once you start getting to the millions, tens of millions, 100 millions, that's when you start getting bigger attention.
Sure.
And I'm not saying 300,000 streams isn't great. I would love to have more than that, more streams. But it's like, dude, in the long run, the game plan that we have, I think is going to win because we are going, I'll just say it this way, we're going straight to the heart of the people that could change my entire career. Instead of trying to go this way to everything, like my producer said, dude, everybody's banging on the front door, trying to climb through the window. We have a key to the back door. That's it. Just open the gate, walk to the back, and go in. And so that's kind of what we're doing. And I can't...
You can't tell us more about that? I was going to ask you, because probably a lot of bands listening to this that are smaller, like, don't really know about that world too much of dealing with labels and producers. So
and it's a scary, like, you always hear people say, like, the music industry is nothing what you think about. Yes, or it's, they say, like, there's some horror stories. I've had some of those, like, hey, we'll do this for you if you do this, and I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But then there's a lot less music in music. There's a lot more of business deals, endorsements. There's people don't make that much money from music, streaming and stuff like that. And that sounds bad to say because I know I can just hear some people, you can make money from music. You absolutely can. You can make a comfortable living. But the millions, the Post Malone level, the Weekend level, a lot of that comes from endorsement deals, from being smart with your money. So I would say this. Here's another Ophi quote that you can keep. This is my opinion, but I believe we all agree with it. It is 100% better to be different than it is to be better. I'll say it again. Sure. It's 100% better to be different than it is to be better. You think of artists like Post Malone, Billie Eilish.
Oh yeah.
Right? And you'd think,
Way
they're
different, yeah.
overnight success. No, it's hard work.
Oh, yeah.
Like Billy had been doing it
100%,
for a long
yeah.
time. Post Malone, same thing.
Yep.
What's the difference was their identity. As soon as a Post Malone song comes on, you know exactly it's Post Malone, what he's going to sound like, what he's going to do. The identity is so strong and it's so there. That's the best thing that will help bands. Because that's something we're still figuring out.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like as I'm getting new members involved, I'm like, okay, I know our identity is high energy. It's freaking like it's there, you know. It's like you would never be able to go to an Ophi show and just stay on your phone. You couldn't. Naturally,
It
you'd
would
be like,
pull you in.
yeah, naturally. So I know that's one of the things we have going for us. And then we want to make sure that you come to the show and you leave feeling better. If you're struggling through, you know, we have people struggling through addiction, you know, drug addiction, alcohol, whatever, or breaking up with somebody, or suicide is a big one. And our hope is that you come to these shows and you leave stoked to just go a little bit longer.
Just to
till
live
the next
life,
one.
right?
Yeah. And so a lot of these new bands, that's what I would tell them, like, find your identity and think if every band is doing that, go that way. You know, too many bands want to be Imagine Dragons, Neon Trees. Like, those bands are great, and they were aspiring to be somebody else, but it's like,
Yeah.
you got to be you know?
Do you guys aspire to be, like, is there any other bands that have influenced you to be what you are?
I'll let them answer this
I know
one, and
I know one of yours, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's so many different styles kind of come into play with that. A lot of I have so many musical heroes, like Johnny was saying, like Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, all those classic guys. I look to a lot of jazz greats, like Miles Davis is like a massive inspiration to me. He's like the original rock star, I think. But yeah, I mean, and just kind of piggyback off of that, it's like you stand on the shoulders of the giants that came before you, you know, but those people... And they had their heroes too, and they weren't trying to replicate that or recreate that because you're just gonna be a lesser version. Yeah. You know,
they're just being inspired but not copying. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Take that influence and then take it from a bunch of different places, and then allow your own voice to come out of that. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
I really love the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Always
That's
good.
That's his jam.
Yeah, they're in top 10 for me for sure
yeah,
too.
the guitarist John
Yeah,
Frusciante, he's so good,
So good.
and you can see a little bit of similarities between my playing and his. I also love. I have a lot of guitar heroes, like Buckethead. Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of him. Yeah.
Oh, check out Buckethead, dude.
Buckethead.
Oh, you know who he is? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Where's the KFC bucket?
Yeah, KFC bucket and Kabuki mask, but he's so good. He's just ripping. You know? Nobody sounds like him. And Steve Vai, Jason Becker, he's a really big influence. He can't play now because he has ALS. He hasn't played in 20 years. But he was so good. At age 17, he was already, or 18, he was already touring. Or he recorded with David Lee Roth from Van Halen. But he was so good. He was just ripping. He was like sweeping all across the fretboard. So that's how I play too. You know,
Yeah.
like that. And
Wait, how?
The
Johnny's the only person I know that uses his arm as the neck
the
of the guitar.
fretboard.
Yeah. I've never seen. Everybody does this, and he's just like, guys, it's easy. The solo is like. Have you seen him do that?
I've seen other guitar players do that.
I've never seen
I gotta,
it.
yeah.
So yeah, Paul Gilbert, Zach Wilde, John Mayer, and I could go all day. Jimi Hendrix, of course, Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'm trying to learn how to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan, but all these musicians, I steal from every single one of them. Steal licks and techniques and all that.
That's how it goes. I mean, you stand on the shoulders of those who have already done it. You take what you've learned from them and then add your own stuff onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it. I genuinely love it. Like, I didn't have a band for a long time after moving to Idaho and then moving to Utah. I still, play guitar all day. Like, I was 12 years old, in the Philippines. It's just my routine, like all day.
That's what it takes to be
My
great
wife,
sometimes,
she
though.
She doesn't like that I do that, but it's just
Hey,
me,
she is a fan. I'm gonna defend her. She is a huge fan of you.
Okay.
Maybe because you don't do the dishes or cook and you just play guitar, but she's like a huge supporter. So, and she's gonna thank me for that. She's like, I could hear her being like, "Dang it, Johnny, I support you all the time. I just want you to clean up a little bit sometimes."
In her mind, you just went up like 5 points.
Oh yeah,
So
I got you. And I think that as a musician, again, like I would never be like that conceited to be like, oh yeah, we're the greatest band ever. Like, no, we're not. You know, nobody pretty much outside of Vegas, California, Utah has even heard of Ophi. And I'm okay with that because that's it right now, but you will.
Right.
You know, and that's, I'm like, they're like, oh, you know, like, I never want to come across as we just think we're the greatest thing ever, but I know where we are at. And if we can help younger aspiring high school bands, like I think it's dope that bands, like here in Utah, there's more functioning high school bands that are awesome and actually really good than when I was growing up. High school bands sucked when I was growing up. It's just like the missing strings on the guitar. It's like, oh, well, whatever, you know, and then the guitarist always cranks the amp. The drummer only has a snare and a hi-hat. Like that's it, you know? And so seeing some of the art that comes out of Utah is so inspiring.
I'm amazed. Yeah. I've like just the last weekend we had a band. They're like all 15 and 16.
It's awesome.
They freaking slayed it.
Yeah. And it's funny is because I'm like, keep going, keep doing what you're doing because, okay, if you're not at our level who've had time to find a producer and work with a producer, plus we're all adults, you know, we have a life, you know, and we've not saying that they don't have lives, but you get what I'm saying. They still got school to worry about. They still got, you know, and so I'm like, go easy on yourselves. You guys are way further ahead than we were at your age, you know, like as a band functioning.
Yeah.
And I think you do take other people, you know, like when I first started singing, I took Sully Erna from Godsmack. I took Sean Morgan from Seether. I took Adam Gontier from 3 Days of Grace. And then Corey Taylor from Slipknot and Stone Sour. Then it was introduced to Linkin Park, and so I took Chester Bennington. Then later Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl. So those, like, I channel those guys, and you can hear in all of our records in our singing, it's like, oh, there's Dave Grohl. Oh, there's Chester Bennington. You know, like, you can hear a lot of that in there until I created, like, my own thing. Where I'm like, oh, you know, I like doing falsettos, or I like, you know, I used to scream in heavy metal bands, and so I could still do that every once in a while, right? You know, usually the encore song will just...
I want to hear that, dude.
It's nuts, dude. Especially because people don't expect it. Right. Because we have these really pretty songs.
I know,
dude.
You got to have surprising elements in each song.
So I remember that in rehearsals. He was like, what was that, man?
Dude, I didn't know you got that.
It's just, I'm like, you channel my Chester, right? But you find the sound, and then you create an identity. And when you find other true artists, you know, there's how could their playing not rub off on me? You know, there's I've modified certain songs because I'm like, oh man, Johnny, you're really good at this, or Matt, you're really good at that. And you know, I say just keep going for it as a young band. Like, that's awesome that you're doing it now. Keep going. You know, and if you're, last thing I will say is I don't know where we're at on time.
Yeah, we'll probably stop around.
Okay, here's my last thought. Last little story. So I was telling a colleague of mine during that time when I was trying to figure out if I was going to go into music or this, right? Or stay in the finance world. And he said, dude, I love you. I love your music. I love what you do. But like, dude, only 1% of people make it. Only 1%, man.
It's a scary statistic.
Yeah.
You know?
And 1%, you think about that. And right then it hit me and I said, dude, do you know who the 1% is? Like, who decides the 1%? The 1%. It's the people that are with the 99 that are like, dude, I don't belong here, man. That makes them a 1%. It's not like there's God or some cosmic being up there that's like, 1%, 99, yeah, you suck. You know, there's not somebody that's like that. It's the person that's hungry enough, the person that says, I want to work harder, I want to be better, I want to perform, I want to do that. That makes that.
And you have
process,
to believe in yourself.
You have to. And that
so
train of thought is what a 1% is made of. And so just that, like, I don't have doubt that we'll make it. I don't have any that I used to when I was first starting out, where I was like, oh, what do other people think? Forget that. If I like the songs and the music and I'm proud of it, maybe other people will too. You know, and it's not a cocky thing. It's just a confidence. Like, why not us? Why not you?
Well, yeah, just knowing you guys for a couple weeks now, like, I can see you're putting in the effort. I can see you have the belief, which is like 90% of the battle. You have the belief and hope, and you have the talent to back it up. So I don't see what would be stopping you guys from getting there. So I'm super happy that you're playing in a humble venue like the
Boardwalk.
This
venue's awesome. I'm excited.
I'm very happy about it and excited about it, and I'm just excited to see where you guys are going, and I hope you guys are as well. But how can we find your guys' stuff on social media and Spotify real fast before we end up here?
We now have to start a TikTok, so we have a TikTok coming. But Instagram is just Ophi Band, OFIBAND, and then I always highlight Matt Wilson Music. Is it Matt Wilson Music or Matt?
It's
Will?
Matt. There's another professional drummer named Matt Wilson. So I know there's too many.
Not anymore, man. We gotta take his spot.
I know, man. It's Matt Will Music.
Matt Will Music, and then Dirk Chaikin. Is it?
It's John OSEL Diaz.
Okay.
Yeah, just if you go to Ophi Band, you'll see these guys all over
I'll
it.
put it in the description so people can see
and then
it.
Spotify, we do have a brand new track coming out soon. It's a song that we released previously, and then we had some work from some really cool Hollywood guys, LA guys that knew what they were doing, and they ended up revamping the song with my producer, and so we have that one, and then we have it's funny because we have like 7 songs that are in the studio that we just either need to finish or we're trying to prioritize, but
it's usually
just
how
all
it
timing.
goes.
Yeah, it's all just the right time, but an album this year would be part of the goal, and then about 3 music videos and other stuff coming. So
look out for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
We'll end it there.